And if government didn't put any money from its pocket, how come it increased? Let me explain you. See, earlier, the depositors' 3 crore money was protected by the bank's 4 crore assets. I said to you that since government public sector banks NPAs are increasing, so capital adequacy ratio decreasing, so government from its budgetary resources have put money for recapitalization of public sector banks. So recapitalization of public sector banks. First way is government putting money as owner from budgetary resources. And second, there is a second way in which government does a bluff. Government doesn't put any money from its pocket, but capital adequacy ratio increases, and that is why it is called a bluff. Let us just understand a bluff in few minutes. Please, as such, not much required, but it was a lot of there was a lot of highlight on that. So just let's understand. Please focus on the board. So public sector bank, let's say SBI. So building, this is asset, this is liability. So building 1 CR, owner's money is equal to 1 CR, deposit of public, let's say 3 CR. Here it is a cash 3 CR, cash 3 CR. Let me convert this into loan, some cash left and some loan. So let's say loan 2 crore and cash is still 1 crore. Okay. What is the capital adequacy ratio? Capital adequacy ratio, forget about the risk assets, 1 upon assets 4. Right. Now at this point of time, government plans to increase the capital adequacy ratio to increase the safety of the depositors, but government doesn't have money. So without putting its money, how can government increase the capital adequacy ratio? Let's see here. Suppose, listen carefully every statement. Suppose government issues a bond to the bank and bank paid the cash and purchased the bond. So earlier capital adequacy ratio was 1/4. Now what I am going to explain is government, without putting money from its pocket, government is going to increase the capital adequacy ratio. So government issued bonds worth rupees 1 crore and the bank purchased. So bank paid 1 crore cash and purchased the bonds. So this will be converted into bonds. Right? So government issued bonds and government got the cash. Now that cash government again invested into the bank as an owner. Government again gave the cash to the bank as an owner. So now owner's money plus 1 crore and here cash 1 crore. So now it became 5 here, 5 crore and here also 5 crore. Now calculate the capital adequacy ratio. Now capital adequacy ratio is equal to 1 plus 1, 2 crore owner's money, upon 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 5. So this is 2 by 5. Now 2 by 5 is greater than 1 by 4. So capital adequacy ratio increased. So government didn't put any money out of its pocket. Government took the money from bank and again put capital adequacy ratio increased. How come this happened? Just think over it. How come this happened? Just think over it. Mathematically it has happened, but are you able to visualize it? Are you able to visualize it? And if government didn't put any money from its pocket, how come it increased? Let me explain you. See, earlier, the depositors' 3 crore money was protected by the bank's 4 crore assets. 1 crore building and loan 2 crore and 1 crore cash. So, earlier the depositors' 3 crore money was protected by 4 crore assets. Now, the depositors' 3 crore money is protected by 5 crore assets. How it happened? Let me explain. Government didn't put any money from its pocket. See, try to understand one thing. Suppose I did not have any money initially. I did not have any money and no risk on me. No risk, no money. I did not have any money, no asset, I didn't have any risk. If I borrow 1 crore from you, suppose I borrowed 1 crore from a company, borrowed 1 crore from a company, and from that 1 crore, I purchased the same company's shares. I borrowed 1 crore from the company and purchased 1 crore shares. Shares worth rupees 1 crore. So earlier my risk was 0. Now I borrowed 1 crore and purchased the shares of the company. Did my risk increase or remained 0? My risk increased. Even if I did not put any money, my risk increased. Because I am borrowing 1 crore and investing. I am borrowing 1 crore and I am borrowing means I am taking debt and then purchasing shares. If the company will not be profitable, company is not bound to give me profit. But if the money which I have borrowed, I am legally bound to pay it. So shares, if the company is not profitable, they will not give me return. But this borrowed money, I must pay interest. So my risk increased. If I am borrowing from someone and purchasing shares, then my risk is increasing because borrowed money I must pay interest, and whatever shares I purchase, if there is no profit, they may not give me anything. Okay. Now come here. Government borrowed money from the bank and it issued bonds. Government borrowed money from the bank. Government borrowed 1 crore and then it purchased shares of this bank. Invested as an owner means purchased shares of the bank. So government borrowed 1 crore and purchased shares. Did government's risk increase? Yes, it increased because it has borrowed 1 crore where it will be bound to pay interest and principal, and it has purchased shares. If the bank is not profitable, bank will not give return. So government's risk increased. And since government's risk increased in the bank. So someone's risk must decrease. Whose risk is decreasing? Depositor's risk is decreasing. Because of this step, depositor's risk is decreasing because earlier 3 crore depositors' money was protected by 4 crore of assets. Now 3 crore depositors' money is protected by 5 crore of assets. This is called bluff, and government has done this thing. So here government issued bonds and took money from banks. So government is basically borrowing money. Government issued bonds. These bonds which government has issued are assets for the bank, which is different from the bonds which bank issued in the previous example. The bond which bank issued, it is liability for the bond, liability for the bank, which will come here in the capital. But here, government issued bonds and bank purchased that bond. That bond is asset for the bank, liability for the government. So these bonds which are issued by the Government of India, by the Government of India to increase the capital adequacy ratio. These bonds which Government of India issued, these are called recapitalization bonds. So by issuing recapitalization bonds, government is taking money and again investing as an owner. So these bonds are called recapitalization bonds, and it has increased the capital adequacy ratio. So the second step through which government is increasing the capital adequacy ratio in the public sector banks is recapitalization bonds.